Hi friends, are you ready to read chapter 6 of Chasing Helicity? When we left off last time, Helicity was in the hotel bathroom and she felt like she was gonna pass out. She's feeling a little overwhelmed by all the things that are happening with the hurricane and her brother. Are you ready to start chapter 6? Here we go. No, don't. Helicity doubled over, grabbed the counter for support, and sucked in huge gulps of air. You're okay. They're okay. You're okay. They're okay. She latched onto the words and repeated them in her mind over and over. She forced herself to make eye contact with her reflection. You're okay. They're okay, she whispered at her mirror image. You're okay. They're okay, the image mouthed back at her. Gradually, her panic eased. Her heartbeat slowed to normal, and her grip on the counter relaxed. Hollow and drained, she took several long, deep breaths and turned away from her reflection, and finished undressing. You're okay? They're okay. Back home, she would have tossed her clothes onto a heap on the floor. Now mindful that she had no others, she folded each damp item carefully and left them in a neat pile next to the sink. She retrieved her phone from her jean pocket and set it next to the clothes along with the crumpled school letter. Then, shivering, she turned on the shower and stepped into the stall. The warm, soft spray cascaded over her aching muscles. She unwrapped a bar of soap and worked it into a lather in her hands. The sudsy water and then her feet turned cloudy brown from the dirt and dust that coated her skin and hair, then ran clear. 5 minutes later, shampooed, scrubbed, clean, and wearing an oversized t-shirt and boxers, she returned to the sitting room. Her mother was standing alone on the tiny balcony, her arms crossed tightly over her body. It was freezing out there. Amazing what a giant temperature shift had occurred from 6 hours before the tornado. The temperature, granted, was a huge fueling factor for the tornado. Helicity knew it, but had never felt it. Helicity hugged her mom hard from behind. Mom, she whispered, which bed should I sleep in? She hoped her mother would let her sleep in the bed with her, not by herself on the sofa bed. Mrs. Dunlap turned into her embrace and stroked her damp hair. I was thinking you and I could take the king and let your dad have the pullout if he comes home tonight. Would you mind? Helicity burrowed in closer. I don't mind, she murmured. Not one bit. Resulted in the deaths of 6 people, including a family of 5, and widespread destruction of the town itself. 9 o'clock the next morning, Helicity padded into the sitting room to find her mother watching the local news and sipping coffee from a paper cup. A half-eaten bagel and a half-empty container of yogurt were on the table in front of her. The pullout was folded back into a sofa. It seemed her father had come home sometime last night. If so, he had already left. Hey, baby girl, her mother said. I got you some juice and food for breakfast. It's all in the fridge. Helicity latched onto something the newscaster had said. Did anyone we know die? A look of anguish crossed Mrs. Dunlap's face. We didn't know the family. Their children were much younger. 3-year-old twin girls and a little baby boy. She blinked rapidly and then shook her head. The other person was an older woman who lived alone on the outskirts of town. Again, no one we knew. Helicity breathed a sigh of relief and then felt guilty for being relieved. That woman, whoever she was, must have people who cared about her, and now she was gone from their lives forever. And a whole family. Her mind seized up and refused to go there. It was just too horrifying to think about. Instead, she found her breakfast and returned to sit next to her mother. Live video of her ruined town was playing on the television. Huge waste removal trucks, heavy-duty construction equipment, and emergency vehicles drove around through the wreckage. Men and women in hard hats and fluorescent-colored clothing walked about the destroyed buildings, snapping photos, taking notes on clipboards, and tapping on handheld tablets. Recovery dogs accompanied the task force of Michigan, marking each home and car with different colored neon X, a code allowing them to quickly communicate the fate of whoever had been inside. The whole scene seemed unreal to Helicity, like computer-generated clips for a natural disaster movie. If only that's what they were, she thought as she drank her apple juice. Cleanup efforts have begun, the announcer reported, but more volunteers are needed to assist in removing the enormous piles of debris. Helicity found the matter of fact the anchor spoken to be annoying and trivializing. She continued, if you cannot volunteer but would like to help those displaced by the tornado, please consider donating to one of the following disaster relief organizations. A list of names and contact information appeared on the screen. One final request, the broadcaster added. She tapped her papers into a neat stack and then looked solemnly at the camera. Many people assume that they should send goods directly to the affected community. Your generosity is greatly appreciated, but you are urged to give money rather than personal items. Delivering, opening, and sorting through individual packages is so very costly and time-consuming, and too often the items sent are not what is needed most by the victims. Victims? Felicity repeated it to herself. Is that what we are? She supposed it was true, yet the label bothered her. It made her feel helpless and out of control. She hadn't liked that feeling when it hit her in the bathtub the night before. She liked the idea of being categorized that way even less now. That's enough news for this morning. Mrs. Dunlap hit the off button on the remote and the television screen turned black. Where's Dad? Felicity asked. She assumed he had already returned to Andy's side, but after seeing the trucks on TV, she wondered if he'd gone to assist with the cleanup and rebuilding instead. Gone to the hospital already? Mrs. Dunlap got up and poured the remains of her coffee down the sink. The hotel helped us get rental cars. He took one and we'll head over in the other once you're ready. Felicity looked down at her t-shirt and boxers. Miss Dunlap flickered a brief smile. Don't worry, the hotel has a laundry facility in the basement. Thank God. Your clothes are all clean in the bathroom. After we see Andy, we'll stop at the store and pick up some other things. The next hours passed in a blur. At the hospital, her father gave her a courtesy hug, held with little warmth, giving her the clear message that he was still upset with her. She sat with Andy for a short time while her parents talked with the doctor outside the room. Andy was so groggy from the painkillers, he didn't do much more than smile and mumble, "Hey, Hel," before dozing off. As he watched him sleep, she felt an unexpected emotion, anger. Why did you have to come after me? I'm not a baby. I can take care of myself. Mrs. Dunlap came into the room. Mistaking her daughter's scowl for concern, she said, "Hey, hun, don't worry about Andy. Rest is the best thing for him right now." Felicity's anger melted into shame. Her throat tightened. What right did she have to be mad at Andy? She knew why he'd come after her, because he was her big brother and he loved her. She and her mother left Mr. Dunlap at the hospital with Andy and went to a nearby department store. They filled a shopping cart with the basic clothing items, inexpensive shoes, toiletries, food, water, and other essentials, including cell phone chargers. Another wave of shame washed over Felicity when she saw those last items. Her mother nudged her with her shoulder. "You can't change what happened," she said with a nod toward the chargers, "but you can learn from it, right?" "Right," Felicity mumbled. At the register, a bored checkout girl asked if they wanted to donate to the store's Tornado Victims Aid Fund. Victims? Felicity thought with another sudden flare of anger. There's that stupid word again. "No, thank you," Felicity's mother replied. "We're two of those victims." The girl's head jerked up. Her mouth formed an "oh." "Geez, I'm sorry. I didn't know. I hope you're okay." Really? Her words were really sympathetic, but her darting gaze was openly curious. Felicity bleated her brows and glared at her. The girl reddened and then moved to the end of the checkout area. Here, let me get your bags for you," she offered. "I can do it," Felicity retorted. "I'm not helpless." She grabbed her purchases, dropped them in the cart, and pushed the cart out of the store. "Slow down, Hel." Her mother caught up to her in the parking lot and looked down with concern. "Everything okay, baby girl?" "I'm not a baby." The words shot out of Felicity's mouth before she could stop them. Mrs. Dunlap's eyes widened with surprise. Felicity bit her lip and scuffed her feet on the pavement. "I'm sorry. I'm just tired." "Me too, hun. Me too." They made one last stop to pick up Miss Dunlap's laptop from her office at the community college where she worked. Back at the hotel, Felicity took one of the new cell phone chargers to the bedroom. She found an outlet and plugged in her phone. She dreaded seeing Andy's frantic message, "Where are you?" reappeared when the phone came back to life. But a lengthy chain of group texts from her classmates had long since crowded out Andy's message. As she scrolled through them, a frown slowly creased the space between her eyebrows. Some of her classmates had been away for a holiday weekend when the tornado hit. Unbelievably, a few of their texts were tinged with envy, as if they were sorry they'd missed the storm. Other messages were nothing more than self-centered speculation about how the disaster would affect them. One boy groused. A girl complained about the only ice cream parlor in town being gone. Another joked about going hunting for buried treasure in the wreckage. A text was sent. Something exciting finally happens in our town, and I'm not there. Shaking her head with disbelief, Felicity clicked away from the text string. Her thoughts turned to Raven. She knew she could ask her parents to take her looking for him, but she could at least get word out that he was missing. She clicked onto the Facebook page that was set up for victims and posted a recent photo of her horse along with a plea for any information of his whereabouts. It wasn't much for the moment, but it was the best she could do. She was about to put her phone aside when she saw a message she'd missed from her best friend, Mia, earlier that morning. "Hell, where are you? Text me back the second you get this." Felicity quickly typed a reply. Mia answered immediately. "Thank God you're okay. I heard about your house and Andy. I was freaking out when I didn't hear from you. How are you feeling?" Felicity pondered that question. How was she feeling? Last night the answer would have been anxious, exhausted, guilt-ridden, and out of control. She still felt all those things, but now anger had been added to the mix. Why anger, though? She wondered. I have no reason, no right to be angry. In the end, she texted Mia the truth that she was mostly feeling confused and tired, and then she lay back on the bed and closed her eyes to think about some more. Her phone buzzed. She assumed it was Mia replying, and she was surprised to see a message from Andy instead. "Sorry I conked out on you earlier. I'm awake and I'm really bored. Call if you can." With a happy smile, Felicity texted Mia that she had to go so she could talk to Andy, and he picked up on the first ring. "Hey, Hel, I was hoping you'd buzz. How you doing?" "Not gonna lie," he replied, "my arm is killing me. The meds I'm on help. They're kind of fun, actually. Make me all loopy and then sleepy, as you saw for yourself earlier. I'll tell you the worst thing, though." He heaved an exaggeration sigh of disappointment. "All the nurses here are old and not cute, even the guys." Felicity giggled, relieved and delighted that her brother sounded so much like himself. At his pondering, she spilled the story of what had happened to her after she left their parents' party. She didn't leave out anything except that their father was furious with her and blamed her for the accident. But Andy had guessed that part anyway. "I know what you're thinking, Hel," he said, "but Dad's not pointing fingers at you. At least he hasn't said anything like that to me. And even if he does sort of kind of blame you right now, he'll get over it because he loves you." He gave a laugh and then turned into a cough. "He just doesn't get you sometimes," he finally managed to say. "You mean because I'm not a guy and I think that the weather is way more interesting than sports?" Felicity gave a short snort. "Yeah, tell me something I don't know." "Actually, I'll tell you something you probably do know, which is he'll come around a whole lot sooner if you make yourself useful. You know, he likes to see us helping out." Felicity grunted her agreement because it was good advice. She didn't have a clue what she could do while they were in the hotel, though. She was about to say as much when Andy changed the subject. "So, you saw it?" Felicity didn't understand what he meant at first. Then she realized it was the tornado. She pulled in her knees and fiddled with the end of her braid. "Yeah, I did." "And?" he prompted. "I know what it was like close up. I don't recommend the experience, by the way. But what was it like seeing it from the hill?" She closed her eyes and imagined herself back on the hilltop, looking down at the gathering storm below. It was beautiful and terrifying and fantastic and incredible at first. I could see its strength and power. Andy, when the lightning lit up the sky and the clouds started whirling and changing, I felt something inside me just... She blew out an exasperated breath. "I can't describe it." Andy chuckled. "You don't have to, Hel. Your voice says it all. Besides, been there, felt that. I know it's not exactly the same thing, but the first time I threw a touchdown pass, I got this amazing surge of emotion. Joy, I guess you'd call it. And that sounds kind of hokey coming from a big, strong dude like me." Felicity laughed, but inside she was squirming. Joy. Had his injuries robbed him of the chance to throw those passes and feel that again? Once more, he read her thoughts. Hey, listen, the doctor says I'm doing great. He'll start rehab soon. His tone turned jaunty and joking. Being the fine specimen of manly muscular health that I am, I'll be back in the field in no time. Really? She desperately wanted to believe him. Totally. I'm a survivor, hell. He gave a huge yawn on the phone. Then, phew, the pain meds are kicking in. Probably why I got all heavy and deep and real just now. I gotta take another nap, but seriously, don't worry about me. I'll be just fine. Okay, I'm coming to visit you tomorrow. They clicked off. She put her phone aside, stretched out on the bed, and replayed their conversation. One sentence in particular took hold of her mind. I'm a survivor, hell. Survivor. That word resonated with her. It was so different in feel from victim. Victim made her think of defenseless people under attack, suffering helplessly, weakened in the need of rescue. Survivor, though, had strength. It conjured up images of someone fighting back, overcoming odds, moving forward, persisting and succeeding in spite of huge obstacles. Someone like Andy. She rolled over and curled into a ball, and maybe someone like me. All right, friends, that was chapter 6. What do you think might happen next? Helicity thinks that she likes the word survivor more than victim. And she talked a little bit about that. I would like you to talk with your person who is reading this with you about what you think the difference between survivor and victim means. All right, guys, until tomorrow, I will see you later.